Nobody said shit, man. They just started playing the playback, mixing it.
Yes, you already know what it is and what time it is, man. It's the favorite talk show in all of North Carolina. I am the celebrity guru. I go by the name of King Maserati Santana, and this is another celebrity interview. I'm going to say it's another episode as well, man. I got somebody, a special guest that's in the building. He also is a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a very special celebrity, man. He's my special guest. He's in the building. And this man, I don't even want to put him in the box. You know what I mean? So I'm going to allow him to introduce himself because I can't do it right. Only he can do it the right way. You know what I mean? So who we got in the hot seat with us tonight, man?
You got Doug Rasheed in the house tonight.
Yes, sir. We got him in the building. Mr. Doug, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, brother.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to have you a part of the show.
I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely, man. So for the ones that do not know who Doug Rasheed is, go ahead and let the people know who are you.
Well, my biggest record that I produce, I'm a record producer. Gangsta's Paradise from Coolio, but I also produce Only God Can Judge Me. I'd rather be in NIGGA with Tupac and a whole lot of other stuff.
Absolutely. So yeah, you legendary.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
How you feel about when people, announce you as legendary?
It's always been surreal for me. When the success happened, when it first happened, I was just so caught up in the work that a lot of it just kind of passed me by. But once I got a little past all of that, I look back and I was like, wow. Man, I can't believe I did all this. It was like I had to stop and kind of smell the roses, you know what I mean?
Right. So you couldn't even believe what you done.
Years later, it's like I look back because I was like head down and just grind,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, we got Doug Rasheed in the building tonight. You know what I'm saying? This is you know what? I'm gonna love this episode right here. You know what I mean? Because this is something that is very dear to me. You know what I'm saying? Especially growing up. And I always say, man, I'm sitting down talking to my celebrities. Mm-hmm. Knowing everything that you've done and knowing what you've been a part of for so many years, it's just an honor to have you up here. And man, I'm grateful.
Thank you.
And I thank you, man. Shout out to Bailu, you know what I'm saying, for making all of this possible.
My man, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, shout out to Bailu.
Never love for Bailu.
Absolutely. Celebrity barber, man. Y'all know who he is.
I had him Fayetteville in the house.
Yeah, man. That's what they say, Let's jump right into it, though. Yeah. How did you get into the well, first of all, before I get into the music and all of that, where exactly are you from?
I was raised in San Diego, so, my family's actually from North Carolina. My dad and my mother's family is from North Carolina, but my dad was in the Navy, so we was traveling. I was raised in San Diego.
Right.
And that's where I, pretty much grew up at.
So was it like military, or was it more of just traveling?
By the time we got to San Diego, he was out of the military. We ended up in the Nation. My dad joined the Nation of Islam. When we first went to California, we were in a small, like a military base in the desert somewhere. It's called Lemoore. And, and then the parents split up. He moved to San Diego. He ended up coming back to get us, joined the Nation of Islam. Then he brought us to San Diego, and that's how we got there. I was about probably 8 years old at that point.
Now, being 8 years old, your father have just joined the Nation of Islam. What was it like growing up with your father and just being a part of the Nation of Islam?
Man,
was it strict?
Yes, it was pretty strict. My dad was very strict. But, the first thing they did was shaved our heads. And that's back in the day when, the Jackson 5 came out. We had grown our afros out. We trying to be, big afros and all that. First thing he did was took us and cut our hair off, put us in them suits. And we was out there selling papers and bean pies just like that.
Wow.
It was crazy.
OTs and all of that.
Oh, yeah, bow ties. Yeah, it was a big adjustment.
Yeah. What was so is that a requirement with the Nation of Islam to cut your hair?
Well, I would say yeah. There was no men with long hair, so I guess it was. I mean, for us it was a requirement, of course, because we was just kids. But the Nation was good because it taught us how to be men. It taught us how to stand up and just be upright. You know what I'm saying? Know that you deserve it. You know what I mean? You ain't supposed to live, low. We didn't rep that low life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So when you look at movies like, with Denzel back in
Yeah.
the day, with Malcolm X and all of that, was it really like that growing up?
Yeah, I mean, that the movie touches on a lot of aspects of it, but they can't really. For us being kids, we only could see what we could see as kids, And one thing that when I look back on the nation, one of the things that stands out in my mind is that other than the differences in the religion and all of that, which Christianity and Islam is almost the same. Mm-hmm. Really, a lot of people don't realize it, but it's very close. But there's, it's just like they're just people, man. So you had corruption, you got, it's just people. A lot of hustlers, and some of that stuff. It kind of came to the forefront, after Elijah Muhammad died, and I was able to kind of say, okay, it's just people.
So you was basically, how would I say this? You grew up into the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, as a young,
as a youth. Yeah, did you follow that path in your?
I kind of moved on with my life once we got out. When Elijah Muhammad died, my parents ended up splitting up again, and then Pops was gone, and it was just, us three, me and my brother and my sister with my mom, and we was back to the street, out there into the fire, for the frying pan. So, we was living, in the hood, just like everybody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely. And San Diego, what was it? Was it like, what was school like in San Diego? Or what
San Diego is, anywhere in California, you're going to have gang culture. That's California. It's always Bloods, Crips. I don't care.
Better believe it.
You ask, anybody that's from Cali, whether it's Victorville, any small town, San Diego, L.A., it's Bloods and Crips. So it's a big time gang culture.
And in San Diego, they got Lincoln Park Bloods, and then they got Skyline Pirus out there.
I grew up in Skyline. That's where I'm from, Skyline. And it's a lot of, it's just gang culture,
How did you stay away from it?
Because I would say I'd have to say that my time in the nation, even though it was short as a youngster, that's I think what shaped my thinking. You know what I'm saying? Of being like, man, I'm trying to go this way. But I did I never joined a gang, and I never banged, but I did a lot of dirt. You know what I'm saying? As a youngster, just like I was in the hood, so we did a lot of we did a lot of things. As kids, you know what I'm saying, and as teenagers. We got into a lot of mischief and stuff, breaking into houses and all the stuff that a lot of kids end up doing when they're in the hood growing up. So,
and the nation probably protected you from a lot too.
Well, the funny thing about it, like I said earlier, it's a lot of hustlers, man. The nation was made up of a whole lot of, just like Malcolm X. He was a hustler.
Yeah, he was a hustler.
These are the type of brothers
that's right
that we were around. So we were all forced to to learn martial arts, and we had to go out. And sell, like I said, sell papers, bean pies. That builds a lot of character when you're young, and you around that. You know what I'm saying? It definitely has an effect on you.
Absolutely. What was the culture like when you growing up and going to high school? And
to me, it where we lived at in Skyline, I went to a school called Morse High School, and it was there was a lot of infiltration of like Asians coming in. So even though it was mostly black, there was a small amount of white kids, and then there was a lot of Asians. I would say they probably were at least 25, 30%. So it was very, I guess you could call it, it was just blended, man. It was actually nice, man. We had beautiful girls in the school. The sports teams was good. My brother played ball, and they was winning CIF. The football team was winning, championships. And so it was a lot of fun growing up and being at that school. And, it wasn't bad. Like Lincoln Park, you mentioned Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park was over there on the west side, kind of going that way. It was a lot rougher.
Absolutely.
So where we was at, even though Skyline we were in Skyline and there was Bloods and it was definitely all that gang activity. At the school, it was a little bit kind of toned down. It just felt more like
because like when you think about Lincoln Park, I think about guys like Mitchie Slick.
Yeah,
I know Mitchie. I know Mitchie too.
Look, Mitchie Slick, when he was a baby. He was 1 year old. He lived 2 doors down from me. I used to watch him on his big wheel.
Yeah, I'm gonna give one to Mitchie Slick. Mitchie, shout out to Mitchie Slick. You know what I'm saying? If you're not following me now, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and start following right now. You will see a clip where Mitchie Slick is shouting out on the Rize TV. You know what I'm saying? And we were supposed to do the interview. But I think that he had something going on, but he still shouted out the platform.
You need to get him, man.
Absolutely.
He's a good dude. He's sharp. He's smart.
Yeah. I would love to do that in Cali.
Yeah.
You know, I want that in person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Mitchie Slick, man.
Most definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I need everybody to keep it locked right here on the #1 hottest station. We talking about the talk show of all time in all Carolina history on the Rize, straight uncensored. I got my man Doug Rasheed in the building, man, and y'all don't know he legendary. If you don't know, you're gonna know tonight. So I need everybody to keep it locked right here. Some more shit. Okay, that's what I thought. We got Doug Rasheed still in the building. Doug, how you feeling?
Feeling good, brother.
That's what it is, man. So before the break, we talked about a lot of your, backstory or how you came up and everything. Now let's talk about like how did you get introduced to the music industry?
Yeah, so I was always into music because my dad plays guitar. He played with a lot of gospel groups back in the day. I don't know the names, but he played with some of the groups were well known, So he was always playing. My mom sings, so there was music in the house.
Right.
So I fell in love with music as a young child, probably, and I can't even tell you, it's my whole life. I ended up playing bass, after I tried a few other instruments, trumpet, guitar, piano. Bass was the thing that resonated with me. Once I hit that bass, it was over.
So you rather choose a bass guitar over a lead?
The bass guitar, that was it. It's just natural. The first time I picked it up, I was able to play it,
right?
Just, to kind of get what I was looking for. And so from there, I just went from there. And then when I really wanted to get into the music game, that happened after, I fled the city, I would say.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, look, like I said, when I was young, man, I was getting into a lot of stuff, man, hustling, all of that. By the time, I was in my 20s, I was going all out, all in, and it was a dangerous path. And at one point, everybody that I knew had been raided. All that happened, went down. I was like, man, I got to do something. Thanks. So I knew I could play the bass. I said, I'm going to get me a band. I'm going to get out of here. So I got a band. We went over to Tokyo. I ended up living there for 2 years. I stayed there 2 years. And in them 2 years, it changed my life because it had a different perspective. Like, man, I'm way over here.
Well, you was in Japan?
I lived in Tokyo for 2 years. We played. We was playing in the club. We did like five shows a night, six nights a week for 2 straight years. And so I got real good on the bass and all that other stuff. But in the process, I started messing around with production, and I fell in love with that. So when I got back to San Diego, I was determined to get me a little studio and learn how to produce and try to make it as a producer instead of before that I wanted to be in a band.
Absolutely.
I wanted to be like Slave, Lakeside, Zap, Roger, all them groups that was Earth, Wind and Fire. That's what I wanted. That was my dream. But when I got back, I was done with that. I was like, I want to make records. And so I started maybe 3 years in. One of my partners, Big Poon, shout out to Big Poon, he was like, man, you ready?
Richie.
You need to go to
Yeah.
He said, you need to go to L.A., man.
Yeah.
Get out of San Diego. And he convinced me that I was ready. And so that's why I say shout out to Big Poon because, that's what it is. Yeah, most definitely.
We gonna get him one.
Yeah, give it to him because that's what gave me the courage at the time. Let's just go. It's time.
Absolutely. Now, does the name John Singleton ring a bell to you of anything?
Well, that's kind of how I got in the game.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So when I got to L.A., I had a plan. My plan was to get a job, working at a recording studio or at a film studio. I ended up getting a job at the film studio, which was Sony Pictures studio. It used to be MGM. And I was a security guard. When I was working at the gate, John Singleton's building was right behind where my little guard shack was. So I'm seeing Big Boy, not Big Boy from New York, Big Boy from L.A.
Facts.
He was John Singleton's bodyguard back then.
Big Boy was?
Yes, he was. He was he was big.
I never knew that.
They called him Big Boy because he was huge. He was 400 pounds.
So he lost all that weight.
He lost all that weight.
Wow.
And but beautiful guy, love Big Boy, man. But but John Singleton had a record label called New Deal Records, and
that's something I didn't know. I knew he was always a movie producer.
Yeah,
but like for the audience that don't know who John Singleton is, can you elaborate who he is?
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood, the film, not the song.
Absolutely,
the film, Boys in the Hood, and a bunch of other stuff as well. Snowfall.
Baby Boy.
Yeah, Baby Boy, Snowfall. I know y'all seen that.
Shout out,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He unfortunately he passed away in the middle of that, but but he had that label, and he had this white dude named Paul Stewart who was handling all of the music stuff, and everybody said, if you want to get in that game, you need to get with Paul, and so Paul. My lot was right where everybody wanted to be. They wanted to park in there, but it was a delivery lot. And so Paul was like, man, let me just park in here, man, because otherwise they had to drive all the way to the other side. It's a 15-minute walk.
Right.
And so I let him park, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get in with him anyway. And so one day I dropped a tape on him with some beats. And I said, man, listen to my tape, you know what I'm saying? And he came back the next day. He hadn't listened to it. I was like, okay, cool. Come back the day after that. He still hadn't listened to it. The third day, I was like, oh, man.
You getting discouraged now?
I can't. No, I didn't get discouraged. I said, I can't let you park, man. You know what I'm saying? I got to, you know what I'm saying? They got on me about it. You know what I'm saying? I got to make you, you're going to go over there, and take the shuttle or walk, across the lot. So the next day, he came up banging one of the beats. He had it on 10. And he was like, man, this is banging, man. It's my first time listening to the tape. So after that, I started working with his groups. He was managing Montel Jordan, who at that time was unsigned. Coolio, who had like one hit called The County Line. It was a regional hit. And some other groups, that he had. And so I started working with his groups. Once he heard that tape, ended up doing some music with Montel Jordan on his first album, which was Something for the Honeys. And
everybody knows Something for the Honeys from Montel.
I co-produced on that, and then I did another song called Payback featuring Coolio, which is on that. It was an album cut. And another group called Human Dog, who ended up getting signed with Def Jam, but they ended up getting dropped later. But long story short, that's how my career started. I started working with him. Ended up doing Gangsta's Paradise with Coolio.
I got to give you one. So, where was what part of California Coolio was from?
I'm not sure which city, if it was Compton or whatever, but he was definitely from South Central LA,
Absolutely.
In the hood.
So with you working with all of, these artists, and you did the Gangsta Paradise with Coolio, what was your perspective opinion of coming into the record?
Coming into the record?
Yeah.
What do you mean coming into the record?
Like far as you had to put it together.
Yeah, I did the beat. But I'm going to tell you how the beat happened. The beat, because me and Paul, what ended up happening is that there was a group called Y Envy that Paul ended up managing, and I did most of their album. There was, 4 girls. They had a song called Chocolate Tie. And so I did that song and a bunch of other songs on the record. And me and Paul just said, man, we finna go all out. So we ended up leasing. We took my little advance I had, and whatever he was making, we leased a mini mansion in the Hollywood Hills. We said, we going out this year. We going in, and we started throwing parties because Paul knew everybody. He was a DJ. He worked with Ice Cube and a whole bunch of people. So we just, we leased this big-ass house and started working.
And you know what, though, Doug? For everybody that never been to Hollywood, and you spoke about Hollywood, Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
If you ever go to Hollywood, you'll know Hollywood Hills, you all the way up there.
That's up there.
All the way up there. You can see the city of LA.
See the whole city.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, that's just we just caution to the wind, got the crib, and everybody was coming. Our parties was legendary.
Right. Now, do you feel like the record was short-lived?
No, because Gangsta's Paradise, I mean, it on the chart, it was 3 weeks at number 1, but it ended up just sweeping the world. So at one point, it was the number 1 song in the whole world. And if you looked at all of the foreign charts, it was number 1 on every chart in every country, minus maybe 1 or 2. So it was a big record, and it continued to be used in a lot of films. So it has long life. Even today, I just cleared a remake, 2 remakes in the last 3 weeks. of Gangsta's Paradise.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So you still get credentials on
Oh yeah, it's constant. You know, it's long lasting in the sense of licensing. You know, when you license your music, if somebody wants to use your music, they got to pay. So it's being used all the time.
Absolutely. Speaking about somebody that used your music, Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
She sampled.
What happened with that?
Well, she sampled I'd Rather Be a Nigga, which is one of my songs I did with Pac. I did Only God Can Judge Me, and I'd Rather Be a Nigga, where she did the Bitch song, which we all know.
She did.
You know, I got a BMI award for it because I'm a co-writer because they sampled from my version of the Pac record. And so, and if you're watching this podcast, I need my plaque, and nobody won't approve my plaque. I need it.
Right. So right there for the artist that needs to know when they dealing with BMI or ASCAP.
Yeah.
How hard is it to get a record actually cleared?
It's hard now. It's more difficult now because now the game has just been more consolidated. So you got certain people that's all they do. They're the liaisons. And so if you want to clear a record, you got to go through this person or that person or this company or whatever. Back in the day, it was a little more free. So we could actually clear a record directly with certain people. But now there's a lot of the majors have acquired. There's been a lot of acquiring of music and copyrights. So everything is under some major label. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to go in and clear something now, you're going to have to put up some money. I mean, a lot more than what we was doing back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the making of Only God Can Judge Me. This is where it gets in with you and Pac.
Yeah.
I know a lot of, I done seen you on numerous podcasts.
Okay.
Everybody love to ask you about this. You know what I mean? But I'm really eager to know just your perspective, opinion on working with Pac and working this record too. Working on an album.
Yeah.
What was it like?
First and foremost, I say shout out to Pac, rest in peace. Pac was, most definitely. That was a great learning experience for me because I understood I was already a hard worker. My work ethic was I was putting in 15 hours a day, and at the beginning I still had my job. So it was pretty much 24 hours a day for the first year and a half when I went to L.A. But when I met Pac, I met him through my brother, Tony. My brother, Tony, was dating some girl that worked at Death Row, and she said, I can get a tape to him. So I sent him a tape with 4 beats. That's the only 4 beats I felt was, dope enough for Tupac, right?
You remember what them beats was?
It was two of the beats was the beat for Only God Can Judge Me, which I had done on Human Dog, which was one of the Paul Stewart's group, the one I told you that had got signed with Def Jam and got dropped. Well, I took that beat and had another beat that I did with this artist named Miss Toy. And Miss Toy was the one that rapped on, you can do it, put your back into it. Yeah. That's her on there. So she was I was working with her and developing her. And, that was the beat for I'd Rather Be a Nigga. And so 2 of the 4 beats, I don't even remember the other 2 beats. The next day, my cell phone rang. Cell phones were still kind of new back then.
Absolutely.
Yo, it's Tupac. I'm like, what?
He called you personally.
He called me on my phone. I'm like, but see, this is what I always did. I would put my phone number right on the tape. So if you like that, you can call me. If you like something on there. So he called me. He's like, yo, I like 2 of these beats. First, I didn't believe it. This is Tupac. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's Pac. It's Tupac. When he said it the second time, I could hear his voice. I said, this is Tupac. I told everybody because we was in the studio. Y'all got to be quiet, man. I got Pac on the phone.
He said, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. It's Pac. So he said he was ready. I mean, and Pac he went at everything headlong. I'm talking about 100%. He was going in. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do it right now, tonight. Where you at? I said, I'm in the studio. I can't do it right now. So I sent him. I had a messenger pick up a DAT tape, which I was going to bring. I actually still had a DAT tape. It had the sympathy tone, which was a sync tone we used on 2-inch tape back in the day. Mm-hmm. And on one side, and the other side was the track. Yeah.
That's crazy. Hey, y'all keep it locked right here, man. Yeah. We got more Doug Rasheed coming up. before the break, we was talking about Pac. You working with Pac,
Right.
You. Okay, so listen, you was around one of the craziest moments when it came to Pac. We talking about the East Coast beef, the West Coast beef, when all of this stuff was going on, and he had the record hit him up with the Outlaws.
That's right.
Talk to me about that.
So after we finished the 2 records, Only God Can Judge Me and Rather Be in Our GGA, me and Pac had been talking about working with his label. He wanted to do his own label, and he wanted me to work with his label. He said it was going to be called Euthanasia Records, and that Quincy Jones was helping him put it together. I said, hell yeah. I could work exclusively with you. So we kind of had that plan in action. It was in motion, but, of course, he was getting ready to promote his album and all that. So one night, he calls me about, it had to be midnight. I had just finished being in the studio for probably 12 hours. I was tired as hell. And I was always solo dolo. That's one thing about the dudes at Death Row. They said, man, we ain't never seen nobody come in here by himself, roadie all his shit in here, set it all up, and play all the instruments. So I had just got back from doing all that. I was tired, ready to lay it down. The phone ring. It's Pac. He's like, man, come to the studio. Hang out with us. I was like, oh, man, I'm tired as hell, man. I just been in the studio 12 hours. Pac said, come on, man, come on, hang out, man. I said, man, Pac, I'm telling you for real, man, 12 hours, man. It's midnight. The studio, mind you, is an hour away from where I live, one way. So he's like, I ain't hanging up till you say you coming.
He wasn't taking no for it.
That's what he said. And then he got quiet, and I was like, I just started busting out laughing. I said, all right, man, fuck it, I'm coming. I'll be there, man. So we get off the phone. I jump in the shower, get changed up, and get in the car and ride out. When I get there, I get in the studio. The studio, we got Goody Mob right here, minus CeeLo, and we got Daz in the room. It was either Daz or Corrupt. I can't even. It's been a long time.
Goody Mob was in the building?
Goody Mob was in the room. Daz was in the room. Of course, Outlaws was there, and some other cats. It was all heavyweights. When I walked in the room, I ended up saying, Pac sitting at the board. There was a chair right next to him. He said, sit right here. So I'm sitting at the chair at the board next to Pac. We sipping Hennessy, smoking weed as usual. That's all we did back then. And hit him up. The beat is playing. They ain't even dropped no vocals yet. By this time, it's like 1-something in the morning. So eventually he goes in, he drops his verse. And at the end, you hear how he's going off talking shit, right? At the end. And I remember that he was yelling so hard at the end that the shit was distorted. And I'm thinking, man, they ain't gonna really use this shit. It probably was in the playback because that shit is clean when you hear the song. But when he came out, he was huffing and puffing. His energy, man, he was looking like he was in a rage. Didn't nobody say shit. He came out of the studio after he dropped that and walked in the room, came back, sat back where he was at, put his head down like he was just in deep thought, or anger or whatever. Nobody said shit, man. They just started playing the playback, mixing it. It was quiet, kind of, the energy was like, God damn, this motherfucker, like, for real, he must be mad as hell, like, for real. So at one point, I just said, you didn't
know where the energy was coming from.
The energy, well, you heard what he said on the record,
right.
So I knew that he was angry about whatever happened in New York when he got shot and all that. So finally, I just leaned over and I said, "Yo, you all right?" He said, "Yeah, I'm good. So I asked him. I said, "Man, you said a lot of crazy shit on that motherfucker, man." I said, "Man, what's the deal with getting shot?" I asked him, like about what happened, and he kind of just told me, what happened, the story about how he got shot, how he felt like he was set up. And I asked him how he felt like how do you know? Why do you think them niggas had something to do with it? And his answer to me was, when I came bloody out that elevator, the elevator opens up into a studio. He said, Doug, he said, we tight, right? We homies. He said, if I walk in that door shot up, it's only one way that you can act that makes sense. I said, yeah, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to run over there. I'm gonna whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
He said, none of that happened. He said, when he opened the door, he said, everybody was acting strange, man. Like, looking, nobody came over there to check on him or nothing. He said, that's how he felt that they had something to do with it. Whether they did or not, who knows? Maybe they was in shock, but he felt like they was acting strange, like damn, this nigga's still alive. That's what he said. He said it looked like they was like, damn, this nigga's still alive. That's what he said. So I said, well, to me, I got what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you walk if we boys and you get shot,
you'll be concerned.
I'm supposed to show. It's a certain way you should act.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? With big concern or whatever. He didn't feel like that. Like he got that.
So from this moment right here, that you wanted to figure out what was going on with Pac at this time.
Well, at that moment, I just was just checking because he seemed like he was just real, like he was in deep thought. He clearly was angry. He just spit all that venom on the mic. To be honest with you, when I heard what he was saying at the live in the studio, I was kind of worried about him. Right. I said, man, somebody gonna kill this nigga.
Right.
He talk crazy. I ain't never heard nobody talk like that, in rap and just naming everybody. I said, man, somebody gonna want to do something.
So what was the tension like?
The tension was, it was quiet in the room.
Well, far as in the room it was. Yeah. But like far as in the world with the East Coast, West Coast.
But it was at an all-time high at that moment. You know how it was, man. I mean, but you seem kind of young. You wasn't around, but look, it was at an all-time high. We had went to New York with YNV, the group I mentioned earlier, and Montel Jordan when they first got signed, and they did a showcase out there, man. And man, look, I'm talking about Wu-Tang Clan, not Wu-Tang Clan, but Old Dirty Bastard, rest in peace.
Facts, rest in peace, yeah.
Man, they came out on stage when YNB was about to perform, took their mics and everything, started yelling, yo, fuck these West Coast niggas, man, fuck this West Coast shit, y'all niggas going. They start riling up the crowd. Like, fuck this West Coast shit.
Wow.
Man, they shut the whole party down. The police shut down the event. I thought we was going to get murdered out there because we was in the crowd. We had to, like, looking around. Everybody looking like niggas. You from the West? Is you from the West? Like we gonna kill your ass. Yeah. So it was that wasn't too long before that. So that beef was that East West thing was at an all time high during that time.
1995 Source Awards.
That was crazy. You saw what happened. You know what I'm saying? She'll come out there.
Yeah.
Talking that crazy stuff, man. It was escalating.
Speaking of Suge, was there any moment while you was working in Death Row that you encounter with Suge?
Absolutely, yeah. So I was in the studio doing like some overdubs, on the two tracks that I laid and everything. And Pac wasn't there; it was just me and the engineers. And I think I was laying like some bass or just whatever, live bass or whatever, just some overdubs. And Suge came in the studio. First thing I noticed, the engineers just they were scared. Up. They looked scared, right? I ain't never been scared of no man. I'm raised in the nation, man. I'm not afraid of no man.
There you go.
So, I mean, he's big and all that, and he got a reputation, but shit, I'm in here working. What I'm worried about? I ain't got nothing to worry about. And I think to me, he seemed like he was a cool brother, man. I think he appreciated it. I didn't think he appreciated dudes acting scary. It's like we all animals. If an animal smells fear, they want to attack.
Then they ain't going to attack you, right?
Right, exactly. So he just came in. He asked me if he could play. It was his studio. He asked me if he could play something for me, and he asked me to give him my opinion. It was a group called Six Feet or something like 6 feet or 6 feet deep, whatever. And it was an R&B group. He played like 4 or 5 songs, and I told him the group was dope, but I ain't hear no hits. He said, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, my other encounter with him was when I needed to get paid.
That was
It's interesting, man. I see a lot of interviews with dudes saying they didn't get their money and
they get their money.
I'm like, man, shit, man. So I went down and with my boy Big Lorenzo, Big Low. Shout out to Big Low. Because Big Low was a bodyguard for Mike Tyson and a whole lot of celebrities. So
okay,
and he was in the nation too. That was my circle.
Now you wonder why I asked you that earlier,
right? So, he knew Suge personally. He's like, Doug, man, you gotta let me go with you, man. Let me go with you, cause I know Suge. It's gonna let him know who you with, and when he see you with me, he gonna know. And he was right. So we went down to Death Row, and we seen Suge, and you could see that they had a relationship. And I saw him. He said, man, yeah, you did some good work on the album, man. Or you come down for the dog for Snoop's next album. I said, yeah, well, I ain't got paid yet. He's
right,
like, oh, shit, well, what we owe you?
Let's take care of that.
Yeah, what we owe you. You know what I'm saying? I told him what it was. And what me and Pac agreed on what the points was and what the advance and all that.
Exactly
he
how
said,
much.
I'll take care of myself.
Exactly how much did he owe you?
Back here it was like $25,000.
Okay.
It wasn't no major amount. I wasn't, and then, you got to understand these are advances.
Absolutely.
When cats tell you $500,000 a track, that's an advance. That means you're not going to get no royalties until they collect that back.
There you go.
So I'm not trying to get the biggest advance. I'm believing in my music. So give me $25,000. And then when the royalties come, my checks is coming quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And ongoing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to this day.
For sure.
Yes, sir. So, he said, I'm going to take care of myself. I waited like 2 weeks. Yeah, I figured he a busy man. I went down to back to Death Row to get my check. And when I got to the receptionist, I said, yeah, it's Doug Rasheed. I'm here to pick up a check. She said, Doug Rasheed? Man, your shit been sitting here for 2 weeks. What? So clearly he went right in there and took care of it, man. So shout out to Sugar. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, man. You, see, you know what I was going to, because dealing with that, with Death Row, Suge and all of that, Suge wasn't going to play with the nation, I don't think.
Yeah, I felt like nation. That too. I mean, cats, nation always got respect in the street. Yeah. That's the real truth. Because, like I said earlier, it's a nation of hustlers and killers, and this is the kind of cats that was coming into the nation. Yeah. So
yeah. Did you ever happen to see Left Eye around there?
I never saw Left Eye. I saw T-Boz a couple of times.
Shout out to T-Boz.
Yeah, shout out to her. Yeah. So, but I never saw Left Eye back during them days.
Your story confirms everything that I was watching an interview. I don't know if it was on Vlad, but I was watching an interview with not Coogee, but the other guy.
Coogee Rap,
No, from Goody Mob.
Oh, for good. Well, yeah, CeeLo, yeah, Big Gip.
That's who was on the interview when he was talking about being in the session with Hit 'Em Up.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, as soon as I walked in the door, they was right there.
I'm tagging
on
you.
On the right side, leaning on the wall.
Absolutely.
And Pac introduced me to them. And
shout out to Big Gip.
Big Gip. Shout out to Big Gip. He was standing right there.
He told the same story you did.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. I got to move along, man. I got to move along. You did a record with Brandy.
Yes, sir.
Sitting in My Room.
Mm-hmm.
The remix.
The remix with LL Cool J.
LL. Shout out to LL. What was it like? Well, how did that relationship establish with you and Brandy?
What happened was I was on a publishing deal with Universal. And so I was working with a guy named Claude Mitchell, who was my creative guy. And he was like, man, I'm going to take you to New York, you know what I'm saying, and try to make you, introduce me to some people.
Absolutely.
And, just drum up some business, make some relationships. So we fly out to New York for about 4 or 5 days, take a bunch of meetings, and what we thought was the worst meeting, I can't remember what label it was, but it was a white dude. I really don't even recall the dude's name.
We got the plaque right here.
We got the plaque right here.
So show the world the plaque. Yeah.
And they actually sent me this. Clive Davis sent me this plaque.
Waiting to Exhale. Yeah. We all seen that movie.
Yep. So I thought it was my worst meeting. Thank you.
Yeah.
And because he didn't want to hear none of my beats. I'm trying to play beats, right, and get placements. He's like, he just talks to the whole meeting, and then we leave. And then, Claude's like, man, that was the worst meeting. He didn't listen to no beats or nothing. By the time we get back to L.A., dude calls me. He's like, I want you to do this Brandy remix from Waiting to Exhale. And I was like, well, so what you want me to send you some beats? He's like, no, I already got you the job. Just do it. So he just gives me the remix, sends me the master, which has Jermaine Dupri beat on it. They had the master sent from Atlanta. They had given it to Jermaine Dupri, and they took his. I guess they didn't like what he did. So I get the master, and I get to put the sample on there, Patrice Rushen, and put my beat on there. You know what I'm saying?
It went a little something like that.
Yeah, it went something with 2 million records.
Brandy was large then too.
She was large, and we got we put LL on there. We had me and my partner Tarek, who's Louis Farrakhan's nephew. Shout out to Tarek. Tarek was like, man, we gotta get the right rapper, because I said we got to put a rapper on a remix.
What year was this?
This was 97.
So
98.
it was well along the time where she was doing Moesha.
Yeah, she was.
And LL was doing In the House.
Yeah, I went to meet her and that's how we met LL. So LL was filming in the house. Mm-hmm. Me and my partner was driving. First of all, me and Tarek was like, man, LL's the only rapper, because Brandy's young, kind of clean. We need somebody who, even though LL's a sex symbol, he got a clean image. He's not a thug. He's whatever. So I said, yeah, you're right. So me and my other partner, Terry Shields, we driving through Hollywood, not even thinking about it. He knows I'm trying to find LL and get the link. We just so happen to be driving down the side street where the studio is, where they're filming In the House.
Right.
He's like, Doug, pull over. It's right there. We pull over. I'm looking up there In the House. He's like, I guarantee you, he in there. I get on the phone. I call Leora Cohen at Def Jam. We had a relationship. And I tell him I'm outside the studio. I'm trying to do this remix for Brandy, and we want to get LL. He said, hold on. He calls in there. He comes back to the phone. Wait 15 minutes. Go to the gate. We go to the gate, go in there. L is like, yo, I see you. Clearly he had already talked to him.
Absolutely.
I play him the beat. First, he didn't really want to do it. He's like, I'm working on my new album, man. It's been a while, and I don't know. I don't want to mess up the flow, blah, blah, blah. But we had to convince him, this is going to be a good, it's a remix. It's going to be a good, to get people deal. Back on. It's going to get you back in the mix, with people, in front of people. So he does it, And Def Jam didn't play. They made him go back, rewrite his lyrics. And, the first one, I thought it was dope.
Right.
We're sending it in. They thought he can do better. So he goes on 3 or 4 days, comes back, he's ready, and we knock it out.
You have been a part of some incredible, memorable moments.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And in your career, and it's like you're so humble.
Oh yeah.
To all of this, you know what I'm saying, and I guess that's what it's about at the end.
Yeah, well,
being humble.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, that's just my personality. That's who I am. So
absolutely.
But I think being, I never was in front of. Like an artist. So right. I was always behind the board, so I could afford to just be myself. But, a lot of times, especially in hip-hop, you have to be boisterous. You know what I'm saying? So
because you had good moments.
Yeah.
But you also had bad moments.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you producing, and you got records, you dealing with, a group, Destiny Child.
Oh, man.
And, you dealing with a record. Yeah, come talk to me.
You want to hear about that?
Yeah.
Okay, first I'm going to tell you, I've never talked about this.
Talk to me.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell it because the truth need to come out. So after I did the Brandy remix, I wanted to work on Brandy's next album. So I tried to reach out to her mom. I had their home number. And every time I called the house, her dad would answer the phone. Dad, Pop's cool as a fan. Shout out to Pops. Her mom was too busy. I couldn't really get her. Pop said, look, Rodney Jerkins is producing the next album. He's going to do the whole album. I said, man, that's cool. I said, well, man, maybe I could, do some co-writes or something. I can sing some beats. He said, if you send me some stuff, I'll make sure he gets it. I sent him a tape with some beats on it, and I never hear back. I called him again. He said, yeah, I got it to him. I got it to them. I don't know if he gave it to him or whatever, somebody in his crew, but they got the tape. Now, when the album come out, when the Boy Is Mine come out, I hear some interesting percussions in the intro. I'm like, one of my beats, I'm like, but it's not, they didn't really rip it. It's just interestingly similar to the intro on one of my beats.
Got you.
And then they go with the beat that they did was totally different. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just coincidence. It's just some percussions, a couple of little things, what I'm saying, a little Pagio or whatever. I was like, I think they kind of bit off of one of them tracks. But then a year later, it was a track that was on there that I had shopped to one of my friends who sang with a group called Vibe. They turned the track down. She called me back a year later out of the blue and said, Doug, congratulations. I'm like, for what? She said, on your placement with Destiny's Child. I said, I ain't got nothing with Destiny's Child. What are you talking about? She said, I just heard the song on the radio. It's the same track that you shopped to us. I said, what? So I hadn't heard the song. I finally hear the song, and I'm like, man.
The name of the song, Say My Name.
Say My Name.
Wow.
I'm talking about the same music on the verse, the same music on the chorus. The only thing that was different I mean, the production was different.
Absolutely.
But I'm talking about the bass line was the same, the guitars, the chords, all of that. You know, they just put their own little twist with the drums and the little, you know.
And that's how you would know from back then with that bass line.
Man, look, it was the same track. It was the same track.
Wow.
So, you know, and then they, you know, both those songs was award-winning Grammy songs. You know what I'm saying? So I was feeling some kind of way. That soured me to the business because I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I felt like I was gonna have to do something.
So do you feel like that was the down? Well, no, I wouldn't say the downfall, but that was just it. Like when you say, I didn't like quit. Yeah. But I mean, you know, when Pac died, that was kind of the moment. But after that, it was kind of like, you know, that wasn't the only time I had music that, you know, I did. I had people try. When you shop a track, people flip it. Absolutely.
Flip the shit.
So Pac was your highlight moment.
That was the highlight and the downfall.
And the downfall.
You know, that was very, very rough to stay motivated after that.
It would, and after he died, did you? I know you said you had an opportunity to work with Snoop, but after he died, did the Suge try to get you to stay around Death Row?
Well, he did ask me to come and work on that album when we were talking about the money. So, you know, and I said, yeah, you know, I need to get this money. He took care of that, but with all of that stuff going on Death Row, everybody knew it was a lot of bad energy. You know, the gangsterism that, you know, Dre had left, and, you know, cats was getting shot in the leg.
You didn't want to be a part of it.
It was a lot going on, and one of the engineers got beat half to death coming out of the studio.
Damn.
I just, you know, I said, you know, all money ain't good money. I would love to work with Snoop. Looking back on it, sometimes I wish I would have done it.
Yeah.
But at that time,
you sure?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do feel like that.
Knowing Snoop
feel
is
like
now.
that. Yeah, I mean, he was big then, though.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes I feel that way, but at the same time, I stand by my decision because I just, you know, I didn't want to be around all that.
Well, who's to say Snoop wouldn't work with you now?
Hey, hopefully, yeah, we can do something.
Yeah,
yeah.
Who's to say he wouldn't work with you now? Real quick before we wrap things up, you also work with where you did the Whitney Houston featuring New Edition, Bobby Brown. All of that. How did that come?
That was I'm driving from San Diego. My cell phone ring is Clive Davis. Clive Davis was the one that did.
Get out of here.
Yeah, look, Clive Davis was the one that did that did the Wait and Exhale song.
Yeah.
So with the success of that, he called me out of the blue. It was like 8:30. I'm tired as hell. I'm getting ready to stop. San Diego's 2-hour drive, 2.5. I'm with the girl. I'm like, man, we're going to have to get a room. I'm tired. I'm falling asleep. Phone ring is Clive Davis. He wanted me to go to the studio to work on this Whitney Houston remix or whatever. And I said, Clive, man, I ain't even in town, man. I'm 2 hours away. He said, man, I need you to come in and do that thing that you and Dr. Dre do. So
yeah, just do your thing.
He hyped me up. I was like, me and Dr. Dre? Shit, okay. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. So anyway, he just says, look, man, because I told him, look, the girl is an hour past L.A. He said, just go straight to the studio. I'll have a car waiting for her. So I go to the house, get all my gear, go straight to the studio. He got the limo with a dozen roses in the back seat. She get in, and they take her to her crib. And I go in the studio and just on the spot do the beat for the remix. Wow. Yeah. That with double platinum too. So the Brandy joint.
Yeah, salute to you.
Y'all can see it. It says I bet on air and lost it all. JL Bowler, that Big Slim Bowler.
Yeah.
Big Slim Bowler's the golf hustler from Charlotte.
You said I bet on air.
Yeah, and that's a play on words.
All.
Air Jordan. So he's associated with Michael Jordan. So yeah, I'm the author of his book, co-author with him. I'm his ghostwriter.
Yeah,
and we did that's his life story. And for people that remember when Michael Jordan had to take the stand on that trial back in the, whatever year it was, back in the day, that was his trial. Yeah, and they basically railroaded him. They wanted Michael Jordan, and they wanted to associate Michael Jordan with him. They wanted to make him into a big drug dealer. You know, they couldn't convict him on it, and he stood his ground. He would not lie on Jordan. You know, they wanted him to say Jordan's involved with this drug ring.
Yeah.
and he wasn't even a drug dealer.
As they say now, standing on business.
Yeah. So he stood on business and did 8.5 years,
Yeah.
And so that's his life story. And,
Wow.
and I also have my autobiography that's in the editing stages and a couple of other novels that I finished as well. So we got books coming.
So how does that make you feel, though? Like, just knowing that you have a legacy.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've fallen in love with books,
Right.
writing now the way I was with music before.
Education.
And, it's like telling that whole story. Like when I first started doing beats, being able to make the whole idea was the thing that I fell in love with. And so the same thing happened with books. And as it took me like 10 years to really kind of learn how to get better. I had to read a lot of books and see how different styles of writing and develop my own style, and then I fell in love. I was like, man, I can make anything happen. Like
anything happen.
Like as the story's being told, I can say, well, shit, if I want this dude to jump off the bed, I could just make him jump off the bed. Anything can happen, especially in a fictitious story, like a novel, which I have a couple of those. But my life story be coming out as well, probably later this year.
And then you'll be doing movies.
Yeah, we working on that too.
The
media company, we're going to be working with film as well. Absolutely. So we'll be doing a little bit of everything.
That's what's up. And another accomplishment, man, not 1 million, but 1 billion streams.
Well, it's really 3 billion. I mean, if you see the plaque is here. You go, we got the plaque. That's the
Can we get
Spotify.
that plaque?
Yeah,
can we get that plaque? Let's get that plaque.
Well, that's
3
the
billion.
Spotify plaque. That's just Spotify.
So
that's 1 billion views on, billion views. It's 1 billion streams on Spotify for Gangsta's Paradise.
Streams.
But we got 1.5 billion, just about 1.5 billion on YouTube. And then another 1 billion spread out on other platforms. So, or another 0.5 billion. It's about 3 billion, to over 3 billion.
And you got the plat though. But see, that's what I'm talking about. These are all actual factuals.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We talking about no, it's over there. It's over
small
there.
One.
Yeah, it's the small one over
Let's
there.
say Spotify.
Yeah, let's get that on camera. You see it, the small one? Yeah, let's get that on camera, man.
Yeah.
I gotta give you all the flowers. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do it right.
Appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely, I gotta do it right, man. Yeah, check out that, man.
This is the one for Coolio.
Yeah. Check it out.
Spotify, billion.
Yeah.
Streams.
That's real right there. 1 billion
Gangsta's
streams.
Paradise came out in the 90s. They didn't even have streams back then.
Wow, 1 billion streams, man, for Gangsta Paradise. I remember the video.
Yeah.
Was dope.
Yeah.
And man, like, I applaud you.
Thank you, brother.
Again, for like everything that you do, everything that you're doing, everything that you have already did for the industry, and what you're doing now.
Right.
And you're still producing.
Yes, sir.
You're still working with artists.
Yes, sir.
I know you're working with a reggae artist.
Yeah, well, I'm working with. I like to work with local
Absolutely.
artists. I love it. And so, there's a guy from Jamaica that I'm working with, Gamble G. He's Jamaican. And just, anybody, pretty much anybody. I work with the kid up the block.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If he's got aspirations. And, speaking of which, we have our nonprofit that we do. We work with kids. My wife's had her nonprofit for 20 years, a lot of community service. So one of the things that we're doing with our media company is we'll be teaching for free. We get grants and we work with young kids that want to get into the business. And we're teaching them everything from music production, film production, the business side of it, and just everything, editing, you name it.
Absolutely, man. And and I got to say it, for anybody out there that's listening, all my listeners, all my viewers, and even to you, you know what I'm saying, what you got going on now, you know what I mean? I have partnered up with, another company, Enhanced Connect Services.
Yeah.
We offer those services. We offer, business consultant, we offer life coaching, you know what I mean? And, and a lot more, If that's something that anybody needs out there, even you, if you need that, we offer that. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we need in our community. I mean, they talk about the culture, but one of the things that I think that the culture needs is this. The education piece needs to become to the forefront. We got all of the killing and the drugs and all of the, the male-female battles and all this other stuff. We need to bring some of this life management skills and, conflict resolution, which is a lot of stuff. But shout out to my wife, by the way, Tanya Rivens. I gotta
give
yeah. Tanya is a giant in the area, man,
Yeah.
in community. She just received the National Black Journalist Award for community service. That's a national award because she does so much in conflict resolution and just like financial literacy and stuff like that. This stuff is all free to kids. We do it with grants.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we seen y'all hugged all up. We seen it.
Yeah.
He took the little rollie off. And he went big stone. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Shout out to Doug, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
In the building with me again. It don't get no better than this. You know what I'm saying? You know how, like, the food, you see the food advertisements and all of that. They go, it don't get no better than this. It don't get no better than this. I told you, this is the hottest podcast. I ain't even going to call it a podcast because it's a talk show. In the Carolinas, you know, worldwide, you will see me, you will see my name, you will see these interviews. It goes down uncensored. Look, this episode would be my favorite episode because this is something that's special that people don't always get. And God bless me to have you part of the show.
Thank you, brother.
My hat goes off to you. I thank you. I wish you well on everything that you got coming up on your journey, and I want you to keep being blessed, keep putting God first, and keep doing what Doug Rasheed do, man.
Yeah, and let's work, man. We can work too, man. You know, I appreciate you having me on, and I definitely think that we both local, we here, so we might as well do some things, man. Let's get together.
Absolutely. Real quick before we get out of here, tell the people where to find and follow you at one more time.
At Doug Rasheed. My media company, which has not launched yet, will be Mad Castle Media, which is a takeoff Mad Castle Productions. All of my records were done on that, but I'm on all of the platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Right now, it's at Doug Rasheed.
Yeah.
The media company will launch probably within the next month and a half. We'll be launching some stuff, and from there we going all in.
All right, there it is, man. You heard it right here first on the #1 podcast talk show of all of Carolina, on the Rise, Uncensored. Straight Uncensored, that is. I've been your host, your celebrity host, Celebrity King, Maserati Santana, and, I'm the guru. You know what I'm saying? And I had Mr. Doug Rasheed in here, legendary producer of all time. Y'all already know, man. Make sure you find and follow me at Instagram, at Mozzie Bracken 18, also on Facebook, Maserati Santana. Subscribe to the YouTube channel on the Rise TV, and hit my TikTok, King Maserati Santana. Until next time, the next episode, love, peace, and happiness.